What you playing, man? What you hearing, man? What you rating, man? Vinyl owner. Vinyl boner. 2-hour drinking is on. Time to hear that song. Vinyl countdown. Vinyl countdown.
The Partridge Family Christmas.
Partridge Family Christmas is coming for our Christmas special.
I cannot wait.
Are you missing anybody?
I don't think
No.
I think we're ready.
I think we're all accounted for. You like dice?
I love money.
Whose pick is this? This is Scotty B's pick?
It was my pick. It was almost high infidelity.
If we would have put Gasolelli, we could have brought back the Where's the Pervert.
I think they're all clean living Christians.
No,
No,
just
I don't
Kevin
think so.
Cronin.
The one
Just
dude who
Kevin
just
Cronin.
died, they kicked out of the band, was like a hard drinking alcoholic. The guitar player, he died recently.
When you come up with power riffs like that, you're allowed to drink as much as you want.
That's right. You've done your service to the planet.
You're a celestial warrior. You're allowed to do whatever you want.
You've earned it.
That is some sweet zang.
Is it?
I'm feeling it.
It's
I
good.
like this 10 o'clock zang.
10 o'clock zang is good.
Feels good.
Hell, I haven't been able to buy booze on Sunday since 1998. Scott, remember one of the first 500s we went to, and that guy was walking down 16th Street, and he's like, "Where do I get alcohol at?" And somebody was like, "You don't."
You don't.
Michigan?
Sunday, yeah.
Well, you know, when you got a bunch of people in the house with their podiums that don't have a West Virginia flag or an American flag, but they have the "Don't Tread on Me" flag planted on their thing, you know you're fucked. My apologies to the kids. I'll watch my language.
Check our levels.
Yeah, check our
Justin, are you in charge of our levels?
What's that?
Are we interrupting you?
He was stunning himself.
It's a strong move on the floor.
It looks like Justin's can't hear. Is this chair fall? Did he fall over?
Looks like something's happening and he's starting to fade away like in Back to the Future.
Sniper, we got a chair down. Boys, what's the format today? Is Scotty taking over?
I'm sorry, what's that
Justin
now?
kind of emceeing this thing? What's going on?
I have 0 MC skills.
Scott always he starts. It's his record.
Yeah, I
He
think you
starts.
start and you choose why you pick the
You can tell us your story of why and all that.
Check 1 2. Check 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 1 2.
No, it's recording. We're good.
You guys good?
Yeah.
We're in hour 2 already on the audio.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's just call that rehearsal. Let's call that a run through.
You, Scott. It's your
You're up,
record.
Scott.
I thought there was an MC that said, "Hey."
Hey!
Welcome to
Oh wait, here we
Boatload.
go. Vinyl Boners, Take 12, Electric.
My album is Electric by The Cult, and one of the reasons why I picked it is because it came out when I really started seriously paying attention to music. I think it probably should have been bigger for the time because it was actually it was harder than most of the other stuff that people considered metal at the time. I don't have a great story about listening to it the first time or anything like that. But we had it on cassette.
What is that? I remember having.
Is that you, Justin?
I don't remember where I bought it. I think I
What's
bought
that?
it in Bill.
Who's that?
We got a big feedback.
A weird noise.
I think Bill has gas.
I thought like somebody was mowing the lawn next to Justin.
Is that what they
I guess
call
somebody's weed whacking across the way from it.
Oh, that's it.
We
then.
might be
We
picking
found
that
the
up.
culprit.
You guys can hear the weed whacker from across the street.
it?
We
Oh, this
hear
microphone.
everything.
I like the podcast where you can hear like the microwave go off in the middle. Where you're like, ding.
That's actually Dave's vinyl boner.
Oh, I have one interesting love removal machine story. We were at the Chi-Chi's in Robinson, which that was the place to be because it was the only Chi-Chi's in the world at the time. Pre-Stu.
It was.
And they had a sweet jukebox that played video. And they had maybe 15 videos to choose from. And one of the videos was Love Removal Machine, and we played it like 5 times. One of the dudes at the bar was like, "Not this song again!" He was so angry because we played Love Removal Machine 15 times.
I remember this story from back then. I wasn't there. Where it's at.
It's in Crafton now.
Oh, that guy is weed. I hope it looks gorgeous.
Oh, you see somebody talking about
That guy's the worst.
I'll put it right up your ass.
Scotty B, who do you want to hear from?
I go to my right.
It's a great album. We used to listen to it. We had headsets, and Eric Newborough. I don't know if anybody knows him.
I do. I work with him.
He had Alaska, and we used to listen to this album in astronomy class at Brook, because he had that big dome, and everyone took astronomy and was like, oh, we'll get to look at, not one time did they turn that dome on and put stars on. But we'd sit back there in the dark and listen to Electric, like for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then have that real, like 70s looking, like deep purple, like
Their name,
like
Bones or something.
yeah, we listened to it all the time. It was you back then. It was all Electric. I didn't want to hear about the other ones.
What is that?
I'll put it right up your ass.
One of the things I love about it is it doesn't have that much weak spots, and then it gets to the end, you think, and Love Removal Machine's like at the end. It's like right when you're starting to go, okay, and then Love Removal Machine kicks in, and you're like, all right, and then it's over, and you're like, wait, it's gone. So, yeah, it's a great album. I like it all. Wildflower, and it's I give it probably 8.5 or 9 VBs. Great, it's just a great album, and I kind of the Cult's one of those bands that probably because of Electric, I still if they put out a new album, I still go get it.
Just give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'll try it. I still go get it. So the new one wasn't terrible, but it wasn't.
Oh, that neighbor of yours his yard better look awesome, Justin.
No, it's Megan across the street here.
Did you,
Going to town, good.
did you not tell her what we're doing here?
I'll put it right up your ass.
It's the house where Dave set off fireworks under the roof.
Can you Dave's coming back to finish the job unless she shuts up.
Yes.
Put it in your pocket or I'll put it up your ass.
It's a great album though, and reviewing it this week was a good pick. I'm a big fan. I'm gonna pass it on to Chris Wilson now.
You recognized every song again because you listened to it so much.
Yeah.
So it's all just burned in.
I know it pretty much beginning to end. It's one of those albums. I'll say that's a stepping cult with Born to Be Wild, and these drunk rednecks always come up to me. Name of the band, Steppenwolf. You got it wrong, buddy. It's not Stepping Cult. And I'm like, okay. That's the same guy that explains to me that Roy Orbison died in a plane crash with Buddy Holly. You tend to dismiss what that guy has to say a lot.
He's always right. He's always right.
I think Roy Orbison shot down that plane with a Gatling gun. That's actually what happened.
Really propelled into the top.
And he yelled, "Eat it, you commies!" Just shot him down.
I thought you said with the Gatlin brothers.
This guy will tell you.
They all were in cahoots.
Yeah, he built Larry Gatlin. Larry Gatlin was spinning chaw at such a high velocity it stuck the props.
At least that's what Lou Diamond Phillips says.
True.
Anything Lou Diamond Phillips says, mark it down.
Take it as gospel.
Make you feel good.
His middle name's Diamond.
Why would he lie?
I know. You always trust a guy whose name's Diamond.
He literally has nothing to lose. Why?
I'll take
Chris's
it.
turn.
So, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum from JB, I had never listened to this whole album until this assignment.
My aunt says you should be reported to the Board of Health.
Were you familiar with any of the songs?
I was familiar with Wildflower and Love Removal Machine, and that's really it. I like the Cult, what I've heard of them. I think Firewoman's probably if you ask me a Cult song, that's the first thing coming to my mind. But I could tell, that was cut from the same cloth as this. I really liked the whole album. I did not like Born to Be Wild.
Smells like cat's piss.
What's this? I was like, all right, well, you did your cover, and I'd give it overall, I'd give it an 8 Final Boner.
Final Boner!
I would listen to it again on purpose. That says a lot for me.
I'd listen to it on purpose.
Yeah. So now I'm hitting off the kid.
As I say, gentlemen, start your boners.
Well, first of all, the Cult, at the first note that I heard She Sells Sanctuary, I was like, oh, I like that. And I ran out and bought Love. When Electric came out, I ran out and bought Electric. And I didn't even know it was produced by Rick Rubin.
That's Rick Rubin.
I had it on cassette, reading the cassettes. And probably in 1987, I would say this was probably my favorite album of that year. Looking back now, it probably isn't. Listening to it now, I probably didn't like it as much as I liked it back then, but it's still great. I think Wildflower, Little Devil, and Love Removal Machine are the big listens. The guitar licks are just, I think, insane and like catchy and infectious. Crazy lyrics.
Make you feel good.
I would give it Probably a 7 now. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably give it 7 dBs.
Final boner!
Not much more to say, just other than, I think Justin said last night that it was just, it's another fun album.
No, he says that you always say something's a fun album.
I was ready for the same 1984 defense. Like, come on, Justin, it's just fun.
So you didn't think this was fun?
No, this album is much more fun than 1984, man. Because it's so much more. It's much more preposterous. It's campy.
He is totally serious. He actually.
That's what makes it even more preposterous is that they're serious about this. This is like a 360 compared to Love.
Wouldn't a 360 be the exact same direction though? Because you're just spinning.
Oh shit, you're right, man. It'd be 180 then.
All right, there we go.
I'm giving this a 320.
I got a D in geometry.
Go ahead, Justin. Go ahead and give your review.
I started taking notes, and then about halfway through, it's impossible to take notes on this thing, really. I listened to this. Scott had this in college, and Scott would bust this out like once every 2 weeks, like it was a paycheck or something. The only thing I ever owned from the Cult before was Sonic Temple, because Firewoman was big. But my first memory of anything on electric was Ian Atsbury jumping through a bunch of beer cans at the end of the Love Removal Machine video. I went back and did that last night after my 2-hour drink today.
I thought you built a wall of beer cans.
Oh, you didn't jump through?
I wasn't drinking a growler. I wish I would have had. We should have kept the cans in the 500 and jumped through them. Wildflower, it's got a great riff. It's got even a better bridge and solo.
Make you feel good.
I mean, Duffy and Rubin.
That's Rick Rubin.
I mean, these are some of the best guitar riffs you can find in the 1980s.
They build whole songs around just a riff.
But the thing that falls apart for me is Atsbury is just, he's just making stuff up as he goes, man.
Oh, hey, do 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 do.
I did start to take notes like you said, and I stopped on the second song. And my note is, whoa!
You can't find another album where the singer is in pain as much as Atsbury. How many times does he yell an ow? I think it's at the end of Love Removal Machine where it's just, ow, ow, ow. What do you guys think of Peace Dog? Is that song awesome or what, man? There is 1,000 rock cliches just in that one rock.
And then you have the chant at the end.
Oh my god, it's fantastic.
You got the acapella break. You got
the back and forth chanting goes the best thing. I'm just exactly.
That's Rick Rubin.
It was a neat marriage. It's a marriage that wasn't gonna last.
It did not last, right? Bob Rock did Sonic Temple, didn't he?
I liked going back and hearing Aphrodisiac Jacket. I haven't heard that for a while. I think that's a pretty cool tone. You can't remember the names of them, but once you hear that guitar riff, like on Electric Ocean and Bad Fun, but the whole album falls apart once you get to Born to Be Wild. I forgot how bad it was until last night.
It smells like cat's piss.
I think that's how preposterous this album is. Actually, I stopped at Born to Be Wild. That's pretty much where I stopped on here. But overall, would I go back and listen to this maybe again in 10 or 20 years?
What are we going with?
I went with the solid 7.
Final boner!
I put this between the other two 1980s albums we did. I think I've heard 1984 so much in the last 20 years that I didn't really enjoy that as much, and that's probably why I went to the listening booth. I told somebody at work, I was like, what do you think of I'll Wait? Because it got me sent to the listening booth. I mean, I'm pretty much in the same camp as Dave. I mean, I was excited to go back and listen to this, but I think a 7's a good spot for it. The whole idea is to get that VB meter up as much as you can.
I bet you never clean it.
All right, who are we at? We're at Bill?
It's me.
Give it up, Bill.
Can you speaker Bill up?
I was excited when Scott picked this for John's edification because he loves my stupid stories, I guess.
No one called him stupid, Bill.
This gives me more insight into you than any other participant, Bill. I think you're using us as kind of like a
therapy.
A therapy.
It is.
You more than anybody utilize the Vinyl Boner Forum for what it's intended for. Don't take that as an insult.
You don't bullshit and you are the real deal.
You should come away, feeling like you've come out of a shell or something. I feel bad if we're shutting down your metamorphosis because you are turning into a beautiful butterfly with each episode. Give us your filthy, dirty secrets, Bill.
There won't be an actual Marlon Heights Pool story in here, but there will be a Marlon Heights convenience store story.
Nice.
Even better.
Just as good.
That appeared in the Super 8 movie. I immediately remembered walking into the convenience store at one point with my mother. Everything was satanic death cults, Judas Priest albums being played backwards.
Time out. We got a marching band.
Wait, this is good. Let him finish.
All right, the musical interlude is concluded. You don't get that on any other podcast. There you are.
All right. So mid-late 80s, you got it was just like satanic cult hysteria time for a couple of years there in the mid-late 80s. And I already knew the cult. I liked the cult. There was a kid who walked in with a red cult T-shirt on, and all it said was the cult, and that was it. And my mother actually got scared and walked up to the young man and asked him if he was in a cult, like she saw on the Geraldo or the Donahue. And I was just mortified.
Looking back, do you think that the band being called the cult actually held them back some?
I can tell you that if it were my mother, then from that sample of one, then yes. So I listened to this about 6 or 7 times now since Scott pulled it up. I'm in John's boat. I remember this very well. I did not know until now that Rick Rubin produced it.
That's Rick Rubin.
It's a very stripped down album, with the exception of the best song on the album, which is Love Removal Machine, where they feel more like the cult that I know. But I like the album overall. It doesn't have any really skippable moments, except for Born to Be Wild stops this album in its tracks.
It smells like cat's piss.
And it's moving, it's cooking along there too. Wildflower is a great place to start off. Peace Dog, I kept wanting to hate it as I listened to it again and again, and yet I still don't, for reasons I can't explain.
Oh, that's what makes it so beautiful.
I'm happy that I still don't understand why I like it, and we'll listen to that song if it comes on. Like John, I didn't know a lot of the names, but I know this album. And Aphrodisiac Jacket I love, Little Devil I love, Electric Ocean I'm not a huge fan of, but it's fine. Bad Fun, I love the riffs on Bad Fun and Wildflower and Little Devil. Dave's very right about this. They build it around the guitars on this album. And Ian can sing whatever the hell he wants. It doesn't matter.
Oh, hey, do, 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 do.
You know, even King Country, man, that one has actually some pretty good lyrics to it, that one. The Love Removal Machine, it's a great song. Always happy to listen to that song. After Born to Be Wild, Outlaw's okay, Memphis Hip Shake, I just start to turn off after that part. Overall, even with Born to Be Wild, it's an album that you can just stick in and listen to the whole thing through. I was happy to revisit it because I haven't listened to it in forever. Thank you, Scott.
What did you end up with, Bill?
I've been kind of back and forth between a 7 and a 7.5, so I'm just going to give it a 7 1/4.
7 1/4 is perfect.
Going out with a 7.25.
All right, Jack, that lives you, man. How'd you feel? What's your story with Electric?
Yeah, I'll go with the Dave B story, which may or may not be true. So Electric comes out. Dave tells me that Jerry Courtney likes their version of Born to Be Wild because, and then Dave gives me a dramatic pause, it sounds so electric. But Electric, I always thought was like a roller coaster ride. It starts ticking you up the hill and then just keeps zipping you around forever. And until, you know what happens? Born to Be Wild happens. And it ruins. It's like this ride gets ruined.
It smells like cat's piss.
The songs are all very similar. Each one has its own unique riff to it, but it's all just old 1950s souped up rock. Play a riff, scream whatever you can scream, throw in some yeah-yeahs and some babies, and you got it going. I can't stop air guitaring because it's that good. And then Born to Be Wild comes on, and then I flip the record off. And I'm doing myself and you a disservice because I like Outlaw and Memphis Hip Shake too. But he shouldn't have kept that song on there.
Well, that was definitely a Rick Rubin.
Oh, it's a Rick Rubin thing.
That's Rick Rubin.
And then I think he did make Ian Astbury just write your lyrics on the fly. Just yell, baby, baby. Ow! Do it. If you can't think of a rhyme, just yell something. Because nobody's listening because they're too busy rocking.
My favorite point on the whole album is Dark Peace Dog when he's just going ba 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 ba.
Yeah.
It's like who came up with that idea? That was genius.
That's Rick Rubin.
They just said, you know what? F it. We're rocking. Next song, because Born to Be Wild's on there and not last, and it makes me kind of listen to it or at least noticeably skip it before I get to the final two songs. I'm going 8. So it's a sweet album. It's fun. Jerry Courtney may or may not have said that cover of Born to Be Wild sounded electric.
I don't remember that.
Dave claimed he did.
Listening to it on the vinyl, when you flip that thing over and Love Removal Machine comes on, it's a great moment because that first side, you listen to it all and it's and they save that and you flip it over and there's that. And then
I said, yeah, Love Removal is deep.
I think it's the second song on
6, 7.
8. I think it's 8.
I had it on cassette. It was one of my first cassettes that had that cassette smell. Some of my cassettes just always smelled like bubble gum. There's like 8 that I got that have that. The Cult was the first one that had that scent. It still has that smell. Let's hear the man's review now.
Just because you can shave, you're still a little boy. You're just a little boy.
It's if the Doors and AC/DC had a baby and they named it the Cult.
Now, who has the vagina?
Vagina, Rick Rubin.
That's Rick Rubin.
Because he created it, right? He created it.
Rick Rubin was a surrogate.
Yeah, it came out as a baby, and it was loaded with riffs. And every song is basically an intro.
So it's diapers full of riffs. This baby is just shit.
The only song. And this was the album you wanted to listen to when you were like going somewhere in the car and you didn't have your window, you didn't have air conditioning. You would always blast this album so everyone would hear the baby.
My God, someone's in pain in that car, man.
It was definitely a go-to for me. It was when I needed a pick-me-up. You know?
So that was a cassette for you as well.
Is
What
it
did it smell like?
You smell it?
Your cassette.
It smells like cat's piss.
Rick Rubin's
Smells like victory.
That's Rick Rubin.
I bet you never clean it.
Yeah, this album smells like Rick Rubin's vagina.
which smells like bubblegum.
We are just getting started!
But anyways, it didn't follow the formula of the hair metal at the time because the third song was not a ballad, which was the format. You had to have a rocker, which was your down boys, and then you had to have a Heaven.
Yeah. Everybody remembers Heaven. Nobody remembers I Saw Red.
So why are we talking about one?
Why not?
Ford's strongest outing is after Jani Lane's death.
That guy's dead?
Yeah, he's dead.
He's been dead for a while.
That guy's dead.
Are you crying or laughing? I can't really tell.
And Justin's out.
I mean, he's got syphilis. That guy.
Totally forgot that one.
Love Removal Machine obviously is like it's between a 9 and a 10 VVs for me because it's that solid. It's probably if I would put it up there in my 80s songs, that would probably be in my top 20. Little Devil, Peace Dog, Wildflower, I would give those would be 8s. And then there's a couple 5s and there's 6s, and then there's like I'm gonna kick it up to 8.
Total weight.
It is an underappreciated, unknown album, I think, with a lot of the leather-wearing crowd, the heavy metal people. They missed the boat.
Is there any gang tie-ins to the album?
Yes.
I'm not going to dignify that question.
The Cult was kind of special. They would be on Headbangers Ball or 120 Minutes. Them and Jane's Addiction were the only 2 bands like that.
Yeah, they were on MTV a lot.
Yeah, and of course I watched Yo MTV Raps as well.
They were on Yo MTV Raps too, you know?
Peace Dog.
Can we do the Fred Lover dance?
Ed Lover.
Ed Lover, Fred Lover.
That's Rick Rubin.
Where do we go, Scott?
Everyone's been in it, right?
We're on the
Yeah, we're at the
second
top
round.
of the batting order.
I got sent back after 1984.
Let's go with Bill Hicks.
All right.
It's that change. It was 7 in the change.
You stay in that listening booth till you like Born to Be Wild.
Yeah.
Then we got Bill in the booth. We got Justin in the or Bill in the batter's box, and
Justin's on deck. Or Justin's at bat.
at the plate. Or do you even listen, Bill?
Oh, I listen. I love horns.
That's Rick Rubin.
All right, everybody do what they're supposed to do.
Peace out.
Later on.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye now.
All right, man, put on your seatbelts because we're heading out right now.
Final countdown!
We went on a big Snyder tangent for like 20 minutes.
Snyder from-
We're not recording now.
Well, that's what I mean. This is all junk.